Thank you so much for watching The Real Source with me, Tafadzwa. Lovers of true crime shows have to rejoice because Showmax has come out with quite a stunner, something special. This one is called Devilsdorp, and boy, oh boy, I had an opportunity to watch all 4 episodes of this, and I have to say this is really one of the best and most bizarre in a good way that the streaming service has ever produced. Whoever said that truth is stranger than fiction was spot on, because this, as I watched this, I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. The true crime docuseries, which is what it is, takes us back to 2016 when a spate of brutal killings, dubbed the Appointment Murders, gripped the town of Devilsdorp, which is a small town in the Gauteng province of South Africa, close to a city that many will know, Johannesburg. And these murders left people terrified to book meetings in case they were the serial killer's next victims. And so the investigation led detectives to a series of unsolved cold cases, the so-called satanic murders, and to links between 11 Devilsdorp killings between 2012 and 2016. They then discovered that these were the work of the Electus per Deus, chosen by God, which is what it means in Latin, cult. What started as a group of devout Christians trying to help a former Satanist escape the Satanic Church ended in a murderous spree involving a killer mom, her 2 children, and a cult with more victims than members. Wow. Now, thanks to some solid research work spanning about 18 months by the producers and their team, it is the fascinating and, quite honestly, pretty disturbing story of the origins and journey of this Electus per Deus cult that is told in Devilsdorp. You know, it's one thing to have an interesting story, which no doubt this is, trust me, but it's another thing altogether to tell that story well. And in the words of scriptwriting guru Robert McKee, this really is a good story well told. Real credit has to be given here to the creative team for the decisions they made about how to lay out the story and to move us between the various time periods where the grisly events of the story took place. The characters in particular, the members of the cult, the law enforcement officers who tried to piece this whole thing together, the victims and their families are all introduced and given their time on screen in a way that is really quite satisfying to the viewer. Now let me say this, the story itself is gruesome and, as I said before, quite disturbing, especially when you know that what you're hearing isn't hiding behind fiction or special effects or make-believe. This is a tale of deception, manipulation, greed, betrayal, and evil perpetrated by real people. That fact alone just sends chills down your spine. But again, it leaves you feeling satisfied as a viewer because the filmmakers have told the story in a way that doesn't leave you feeling cheated. If I really have to nitpick and look for something quote-unquote negative to say, I felt that at times the music was a little too overpowering in its intensity. Not the music itself, but just the intensity of it. There were moments where silence or something more toned down could have worked simply because the content of the story on its own was driving home the message. And quite honestly, I didn't feel it needed much help. But that is an issue of taste and really my own view. All in all, this is definitely a series I'd recommend just for how captivating and twisted the story is, but more so for how everything is narrated. These, of course, are my thoughts on the series. Perhaps you see it a little differently. If you've watched it, I'd love to read your comments in the section down below. But from me here on The Real Source, this is Tafadzwa saying thank you so much for watching and take care.